usually I don't give a heads up when I start recording. I just, as soon as I see the person starting to load in, I hit the record. But because we had issues with the video, I didn't do that. So,
Nope, that's cool. That's cool.
usually I surprise them. Like a couple of people have come on and been like, "Hey," we just start talking. They're like, "Are we recording yet?" Yeah, we've been recording the whole time. So,
Oh, yeah. Well, because my phone is a big, gigantic piece of poo.
hey, it happens. It's okay. It's all right. It makes every one of them different. I mean, one of them I had actually forgotten I was supposed to be doing it. So when they sent me the reminder, like, "Hey, are we still on?" I was like, "Ah,
Yeah.
shit." So I started my thing, sent them the link, but I was out in the kitchen feeding my cats. So I mean, it's not all from here. And I mean, here is not much to look at. Like, I'm in my freaking chair. Like, there's my couch and my dog's right there. My other dog's right there. Like, I'm not sitting at a desk with big headphones.
That's okay. I actually was going to use the den. I mean, I have a desktop computer, but my late husband was a computer tech. So he made sure that both the kids that are still left here at home each have their own computer so they can do homework without killing each other.
Yeah.
And they were refusing to vacate the den. So I said, "Oh, I'll just go on the den or on the couch." And of course, we had a dog who was kind of psycho for a little while, and I had
Yeah.
to fix the spots of drywall that he ate.
Yeah.
I just
Hey,
put stuff there.
hey, but you got some really cool paintings to cover it up for now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I cannot guarantee that there will not be some random cat jumping up in the middle of everything.
Yeah, I just saw the tail. It's okay. I've got 4 of them. So mine like to just hang around everywhere.
Exactly. So what made you start doing these?
Um, about a month ago, actually. Oddly enough, it hasn't been that long. So
They're just like, fuck it.
basically, yeah, like I mean this podcast, not the brightest crayon, it used to actually be something that I did weekly, but it was just me. I never had guests on because I'm always behind in times when it comes to technology, always. Um like for an example, my wife had gotten an iPhone 8 and realized how many, bugs were in it. I was still with a 4. Like
Oh,
I was that far behind, and like now she has a 12. I took her 11. She just went and upgraded her smartwatch. I got the old one. I still don't know if I like this thing. I just took it.
does it tell
So
you to get up and move?
oh yeah, yeah. Like um tried to get me to set up all that crap like age and weight and height, and I didn't do it. Like, nah, I'm good. Thanks.
Mine, I'll be like working and seeing a client because one of the things I do is foot reflexology. So I'll be sitting there like third clients of the day, grinding in on somebody's feet, and
Right?
watch her start vibrating, saying, "How about we get up and stretch?" And I'm like, "Shut up."
Like, nah, I don't feel like it. Who are you to tell me? You're just a watch.
Yeah, I'm like, fucker.
I mean, because she works in fast food, um, and she walks like 5 miles a day around that little building.
Oh,
So
oh, for sure.
yeah, I mean, she likes it because the watch will tell her. And then some of the times when she's just rolling around on the bed, just like trying to go to sleep or trying not to go to sleep, it'll tell her like, "Hey, you reached your goal." Like she didn't do anything. How did she reach her goal? But
I won, because I go kayaking sometimes,
yeah,
I like to turn on because I have a Samsung, so I'll turn on Samsung and tell it that I'm kayaking just so I can see how far I've gone,
yeah,
because like when you're out there, you don't really pay any attention to distance, and it's kind of one of those things. Like later, you're like, well, I don't know how far I went,
right.
so I'll turn it on and then I'll toss my phone in a waterproof bag or box or whatever, and then just the watch is supposed to record it. Well, then if you don't tell it that you're kayaking, just tells you that you're sitting still. How smart are you?
Right?
I'm just sitting here. Damn it.
Like, oh, all I'm doing is sitting. All I'm doing is sit. I'm not moving at all. I swear, I'm not moving.
I'm just sitting, busting my ass,
Yes.
hauling balls through the water. Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah.
And all this sweat is just because I was sitting still.
Right, right. And I'm usually out there. It's like 90 degrees because you get on the water. It's cooler, and usually I'm just like, I've had enough. My day has sucked. I'm just gonna go row it out.
Yeah.
And the damn phone's telling me to get up, and I'm like,
Like I am up. I'm not gonna
damn,
stand in the
damn, right
kayak.
now, right
Right?
now.
Where do you go kayaking?
Well, I live in Ohio, so I live in kind of west central Ohio, and I am super close to a state park. So there's a canal that goes through my neck of the woods called the Miami Erie Canal. It connects it used to be a main distribution channel of goods between the Ohio River and Lake Erie.
All right.
So it goes from Cincinnati to Toledo, and I live along it. And there's a bunch of these little lakes that they like dammed up and turned into feeder holder areas for it. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think they've used the canal since like 1910, maybe even before that. But the lakes are still here, and they're now all state parks. So
Right. There you go. So, do you go fitting, or do you go whenever?
I go whenever. I worked. I've worked third shift on and off. Thank God, right now I'm not doing third shift, but I've worked third shift on and off for like 13, 14 years. So,
Okay.
like, I would load it up on the trailer the night before, or for a while there when I had a minivan, I had a rack on top. And then when I got off work at 6 or 7 in the morning, if it was summertime, the kids didn't have to be anywhere. I just go straight to the lake, drop it in, and hit the water before I'd even come home.
Nice. Nice. Like, so you don't care about the cold, you just go out there anyway?
Um, yeah, well, it just kind of depends. In the middle of the summer, it's really not that cold out. It's usually 65, 70 by the time I get out there.
Yeah.
Um, because we're like in the stanky hot section.
Gotcha. But, like, have you I mean, I know it's probably kind of a dumb question, but have you gone during the winter?
The latest I've gone is November,
Okay.
and the earliest I've gone has been March.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, like, the water after that kind of freezes, yeah?
At least surface freeze, so it'd be like be like rolling through slushy.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, you know what? Every once in a while, gotta just gotta break up the slushy,
I'm actually thinking that that would be kind of fun, like a big pool
right?
full of like red slushy.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh my god. Oh, I don't
You
know if I'd
can
be
just
I'd be
drink your way
playing
out.
in it. Exactly. Just drink your way out. I don't know if I'd be like rowing or playing in it. I think I'd be shoving a big straw in there. Exactly.
Go for the brain freeze. Yeah.
Yes. Like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs when he makes that giant jello and they go around and play
I
inside the jello.
like go diving into it. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yep.
Like love that movie.
That piano, that statue, that jello, it's all made out of jello.
It is all made out of jello. I don't do acid, but I kind of wonder what that movie would be like if you were on acid.
Oh my god. I don't want to know.
Well, when I was in high school, it was the big thing to smoke a little
Yeah.
and then watch Pink Floyd The Wall.
Yeah.
So now I'm wondering, like, if somebody just would partake and hang out and watch Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, they'd be going, Dude.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't take acid. Like I have eaten mushrooms before. So I would do that again and watch the movie, but I wouldn't take acid. I've never
No,
taken acid
I'll give
before.
them a little bit of the Mary Jane.
A little bit of the Wheaties.
Yeah, I could see them kind of like getting the munchies and all of a sudden eating spaghetti, and they'd be going, dude.
Yeah. I just I think I think if I smoked weed and watched that movie, all it would do is make me hungry. I don't think I would like see anything different. I would just be very hungry.
There'd be a whole lot of door dashing going on.
Oh my god, yeah, like just forgetting how to use your thumbs, so you're literally calling and being like, "Hey, I want everything on that screen," but they can't see what you're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, and they'd be like, dude.
Like, "What are you talking about? I want homemade spaghetti from the sky. Where can I get it from? Why aren't the burgers on this screen as big as the ones on that screen?"
Right? Right? Yes. Yes.
Oh,
One of my many jobs, well, I have a whole bunch of TikToks where I start very sober.
yeah.
I start talking about all the different jobs I've had. And like 13, 14 jobs later, I'm shit faced. But I think it's about 12 1-minute videos long. Is I couldn't do the 3-minute videos, and really 3-minute videos on TikTok or I don't think we're built to have a 3-minute TikTok attention span.
No. No,
No,
no, not even the interesting ones can pull you in for that long, which makes me realize very weird that we can still sit and watch movies because movies are not a minute long. Movies are, 1, 2, 3 hours long, depending on the movie. And then, of course, things like this, where we're talking as friends about nothing for however long we talk, and people are gonna actually listen to this. It's just
but I
weird.
think depending on the platform, right?
Yeah,
If you go into it with a preconceived notion of how long this shit's gonna be,
yeah, true. And
they're all
I think,
TikTok. It's gonna be 57 seconds of cute.
yeah, and TikTok is just trying too hard to become everything else. It really is. It's trying too hard to compete with Instagram and um, Facebook and Twitter and just all those things that allow you to do lengthy videos. It's trying too hard.
Does it have to? Now it's got this story function.
Yep, just like Instagram and
Snapchat
uh,
and
yeah,
Facebook.
yep. They're all doing it now. They're all doing the same thing. They're turning into the same thing.
And I'm like, I really don't think that that's necessary.
No, it's well, yeah, but like the story thing is
Stupid.
always has been. Well, yeah, that too, but it is and always has been an option to help you find the videos faster. So you don't have to scroll through. You just click on their stories and there it is, kind of like Snapchat. Um, but the weird part about TikTok is it it doesn't go away unless you delete it. Snapchat, if you don't save it to your story, you watch it once and it disappears.
Yeah,
TikTok, you watch it once and it's still there. So there's no point
none.
in having a permanent option like a story when it's already permanent.
Yes,
Yeah. I think
but
I
it's
have
still
to have a few more of these to understand why they why they did such a yeah. But yeah, yeah. See, I should be drinking that, but I don't have of the hard shit in my house anymore. So,
personal choice, or you just drank it off.
um, well, both. When I decided that hard liquor was
Not your friend.
well, no, it's always been my thing. That's the problem. Um, I have way too much to do, Like, my kids have only been in bed for an hour. I wake up at 3:45 in the morning to help my wife get out of bed for work, and then from then until 9 p.m., it's just chaos. So, I can't drink liquor because if I wake up with even the tiniest hangover, my whole day is fucked. Um,
How
so
old
I
are your
stick
kids?
14, 12, 11, and 7.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I know your life. I have four boys. They're 26, 23, 13, and 10. And then I have a couple of extra kids that I call my foster kids. They're not my foster kids, but they lived with us for a while,
Yeah.
and they are now 25 and 23.
Nice.
So yeah, like for a while there, it was the house of testosterone.
Yeah.
Mother would come and she goes, "I just don't know how you do it. The dog's even a male. How do you handle this shit?"
Well, um, you know what? I have 3 girls and a boy.
Hmm.
Will always say that it's much easier to raise boys for the simple fact that when boys fight dollars, and that's all it does. When boys fight, it just costs dollars to repair whatever they broke when they were being stupid.
I am still repairing. I
Yeah,
will be.
when the girls fight, it doesn't cost money. It costs like psychological mental capacity up here. That's like my 7-year-old is like I know that she knows and she knows that she knows, yet every time she does it, I'm still like, fine. Like you just they even my 7-year-old just knows how to like push and push and push until I'm like, fine, fuck it, do it. Like I don't care anymore. And she's 7. Like when that kid is a teenager, I'm in trouble.
Make her a lawyer.
Um, it, she could even now she could be because she would just argue with you until you gave up. She
See,
wouldn't even
and
have to know what the argument's about. She would just talk until you were like, fine, you win.
I am like crushed that my 23-year-old did not finish college and go to law school. Now
Yeah.
he thinks it's just because I wanted him to make lots of money to pay for me to live, which would be a bonus. The boy has like this rational argumentative skill that just makes you want to be like, fine. Yeah. And you know, like no matter how much, like every as a child, I from as soon as that kid could talk until he moved out, like all I had to say is because I fucking said so. Because I said so. That's right. Just because. And then he would be like, that's not good enough. And I'm like, I don't care. And he would tell me, you always said that because has to be followed with a reason. And if you can't give me a reason, then that's not good enough. I said, because I'm the mom and I'm in charge.
There you go. Yeah, but see, you got to be careful with that too because my mother made a huge mistake. She did the because I said so, because I'm the parent, because of all this crap, and then she made the mistake of telling us that when we had our license, our own license, and our own vehicle, no matter what age, we were going to be treated as adults. Well, I got mine at 16, and
Hmm.
I promise you, I made her eat those words every day because I paid my license myself. I did not pay for the I don't believe I paid for the DMV. I think my parents chipped in for that. Or like the class in high school, the driver's ed or whatever the hell it was. And my father bought my vehicle, but I paid for my license. So when my mom said, "Give me your keys," no, that truck came from my dad and the license was bought from me. You have no authority here. So I made her eat those words that I was now an adult and would be treated as an adult every single day.
Well, see, I have two things on that. Number one, my parents were always say, "You breathe at our convenience."
I like that because it's so true.
Breathe because we let you. But I was a farm kid, right? Grew up in the country. So technically, on a technicality, farm kids in the country can drive as soon as they can touch the pedals.
Yeah.
And they're fully insured underneath the farm insurance as long as they are doing farm work. So I think I started driving when I was 12. That's about when I hit my max height. I
Sounds
hit
about right.
5 when I was 12, and that's where I've stayed. You know, at 12 years old, I was a freaking Amazonian. And
Right?
then
Everyone
grade,
else
I
just got taller than you.
yeah, eighth grade, I walked in and it was nothing but armpits and belly buttons. But you know, so like driving was not a big hairy ass deal. But my parents were like, if you want to drive legally to like go do things other than driving a truck from here to there or pulling wagons, um, you better find a way to pay for it. And I was told that if I didn't have a job outside of the farm, I had no reason to have a license. And they refused to sign the paperwork. So I got a job at a nursing home and I paid for the driver's ed, I paid for the license. And if my grades dropped below a B average, I would lose the good student discount and then I'd have to pay for my own insurance too.
Damn. Yep, I paid for my own insurance. Um, my father child support. So the agreement was because my mom didn't need it anymore because I was working
Hmm.
and my brothers were working, so she didn't need it anymore. So we just agreed that what he was paying would now go to my insurance and I would cover the rest. And trust me, at 16, I mean,
It's a,
$300 a month for insurance, yeah, it's a lot of money, especially
it's
on a
a lot.
used vehicle. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh
Um,
yeah. And I think my first vehicle, so I'm the youngest of six. Um, my first vehicle was a POS vehicle that my brother closest to me in age, big age spread between the oldest and the youngest. The
yeah.
one closest to me is 5 years older than I am. And this was the 90s.
Mhm.
Um, he drove, like reference because people are going to hear what kind of car it is and then probably shit their pants.
Right?
I tend to be one of those people that nobody knows how old I am.
Right?
He drove a 1978 Ford Fairmont and he left and he moved to Israel. And so, I have a very odd family. So, yes, just take that in stride. He moved to Israel.
It's okay. It's
Like
okay.
for schools one day, he left, moved to Israel. But he left the car at home and it was technically under my mom's name because so came time to me driving. I gave her $200 to put into his bank account so he had money to spend in Israel. And bam, the beast was mine.
Yeah.
And then something like 7 weeks, 8 weeks later, I totaled that SOB.
Oh, of course. Come on.
On my way to school one morning. Now, this doesn't count, I mean, also the 90s, like 90, right? I got my license in 1990. Um, growing up in Ohio, I live in an area of Ohio where they call us extreme alcoholics.
Oh, nice.
We're all German Catholic,
Yeah, there you go.
and many people think we're a little inbred, which not probably.
Hey, shit happens. That's why they make toilet paper.
Yes, yes. So we had a lot of bad habits. And there were nights, like the weekend after I got my driver's license, I woke up in my bed one morning and thought, oh, thank God. And then I went running and looked out my bedroom window and thought, oh, good, the car's there. In one piece.
Right?
And then my dad woke me up to go feed the calves by saying, I pulled a bunch of weeds off your bumper this morning. And I'm going,
Uh-oh. Shit. Whoops.
what were you doing last night? And I was like, oh, I had to park in a place, in a spot.
Nothing? Nothing? I'm
Like
actually I'm
all those 80s and 90s teen movies, like
oh yeah.
16 Candles and all those that had the big huge house parties.
Oh yeah.
Those happened.
I I was I mean I grew up in the 90s. I wasn't a teenager until 2000. I was born in 87, but I grew up in the 90s. So believe me, I have been subjected to all of that shit. Weed was at 11 years old. Um, Drinking started at 13, 14 years old. It was all very, very quick. And then the weekend parties where I met a friend through another friend, that kind of like those weird people, friend of a friend of a friend, the kind that you go to get weird shit that you can't find anywhere else. He had a house like way out in the woods, and the first time I drove up, I brought one of my friends. And it was a dick move on my part because I didn't tell him that I only brought him because I was terrified. I brought him because the first time you drove up this road, it was nighttime on a Friday. And I looked over at him and I was like, if this turns into Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm sorry. And that was the only thing I said to him. And then, of course,
A real vote of
and
confidence.
yeah, a little bit. And then, of course, that weekend turned into I can't even count how many weekends. And it would be like we would go there Friday night, we would drink until Sunday morning, and then we'd go home.
Yes.
And I'd go right to work.
Yeah.
Sundays were because I worked in the deli. I would go to work on a Sunday at the deli, and I had all that food smell going, and I'm like, oh God, why?
Uh,
Like my head is pounding, my stomach's like, you gotta eat, but I don't want you to eat at that point. And yeah, so I got all of that out of the way. I'm just worried because I don't bad habit that I give to my kids right now is sarcasm. I'm gonna pay for that one later, kind of like my dad did. But I think the getting things done too quick and the party animal is like hereditary because my dad did it, my dad's dad did it, all of his brothers did it, my brothers did it now, and then I did it because I'm the youngest of three. Um,
what
and
state do you live in?
what's up?
Where do you live?
Oh, I was born in New Hampshire.
Well,
I live
know,
there, Florida now, but
I just think that it is a general that unless you live in these some certain pockets, this
yeah,
shit happens.
yeah, it does. Let me tell you a funny story. Actually, I don't. You may have actually seen the quick version of this on TikTok, but I'll tell you the slow-winded, long version. Because I have more than a minute. So I had to go see a friend of mine, and it wasn't a shady thing. I just had to go see a friend of mine. They happened to be at a cookout, and it was adults, and there were kids there. So of course there's alcohol because there's kids there, and there's
Nothing.
the food smells good. They're outside. They've got a kiddie pool, shit like that. So I had my kids with me at the time. They were young at the time. I think my youngest, I only had two kids at that time, and My youngest girl was only 2 years old. She's 12 now. So, she was only 2. I think she was 2. Well, we go up to this cookout, and I find my friend, and I start talking. Sister is 3, so they're hanging out with each other, they're hanging out with the other kids, whatever. There happened to be a glass on the table that kind of looked like water, but it wasn't. It turned out it was a 16-ounce Sex on the Beach. Like, basically pure vodka with a little bit of juice.
Oh, yeah.
And my 2-year-old grabbed it off the table and drank the whole damn thing, right down to the bottom, ice
No,
cubes and all. And, she didn't get drunk. She asked for more. She did not respond at all. The only response I got from this girl was, more? That was the only thing I got from her. She didn't puke, she didn't go wobbly, she didn't pass out, nothing. Just completely. If I chugged a 16-ounce like she did, I would at least feel a buzz or, like, be on the floor from it going in so quick. Nothing. This 2-year-old child was like, "More?" Like, and I mean, I learned 2 things from there. 1, she's gonna be a hell of a drinker when she's older, and 2, I will never bring her to a bar because 'cause she'll make me look like a pussy. But if anyone
you broke.
yeah, but if anyone needs a drinking buddy, I mean, she'll be ready. That freaking kid, man. And
Liver of steel.
that child, and, like, even today, she's 12, and I don't think she's got the alcoholic tendency. I think she's curious as to what things taste like. She's like, "Hey, Dad, you have that in your hand. Why can't I?" So, like, she tried one of my beers once, got sick. Actually, no, did she get sick? No, she didn't get sick. No, she tried one of my beers once, didn't like it, but she didn't get sick because beer is disgusting. But that's why I really don't keep liquor in the house. Not only will I drink it morning,
She would too.
she would too. So I keep it out of here.
See, now my first husband, which God forbid if he ever sees this because he'll argue his ass off, but he tends to partake a little too much. Um, and so I think my oldest son got a little bit of that. Like he was one of those guys that would mow the lawn on the riding mower, and when he would throw the empty can off, he expected a kid to be waiting on the next round with a full one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I was always like, and I quit drinking towards the end of being married to him, and he was always like, I don't understand why you can't have fun anymore. I'm like, yeah, somebody's got to be sober, man.
Right. I mean, there's a fine line, and it doesn't take much to cross over to where it's not fun anymore. It's a very it's a thin line to toe.
Yeah, I was like, somebody's got to be sober, and you obviously aren't it, so it's got to be me. And of course there were other issues, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then, but my oldest son, like
Drinker?
oh my God. So my second husband and I, we went through the teenage years with him, right?
Yeah.
Got remarried. He was in 8th grade. And so him and his buddy, since they were 4 years old, because he was best friends with the babysitter's son.
Yeah.
One day, my husband and I, we got done doing yard work, and all the little brothers were running around the yard. And my husband opens up the fridge in the garage and he goes, "When did you buy Budweiser?"
Like I didn't.
I was like, if I didn't buy Budweiser, I mean, if it's not rum, I didn't buy it. And he's like, well, there's a 30-pack of Budweiser in here, or 24, whatever it comes in. See, that I don't even know. So there you go.
Yeah.
I was like, is there?
Hmm.
Yeah. And I said, oh, because the most he would ever drink is like one or two tall boys of Bud Light, never Budweiser. I
Yeah.
said, well. I'd say the beer fairy came to see us.
They did.
And I'm not even like I'm not supposed to consume wheat
Yeah.
because of an allergy thing. Budweiser has a pretty high rice content, so I was like, so we lit a campfire in the backyard. We live in town, we're in our fenced in backyard. Kids are running around, the dogs are running around. And all of a sudden, he was 15 or 16. He and his buddy come home, open the gate, they walk in the backyard. We're sitting in lawn chairs in front of the campfire. We had a pile of beer cans. Some of them, I have to admit, we dumped out,
Yeah.
right? Just to make it look worse than what it was.
Yeah.
We're just sitting there with buds in our hands, right? And they go in the garage and they open up the fridge and they go, "Who took our beer?" Look at my husband. I'm like,
See?
"Yep, yep." And my second husband was a big dude, like 6'4",
Yeah.
450 pounds. We're talking refrigerator Perry size, right?
Yeah.
So we're sitting there with this pile of beer cans. They come up and they go, "Are you drinking our beer?" I went, "Oh, I'm sorry. Are you 21?" They're like, "Well, but we put it in the fridge." And I went, "Oh, are
So.
you a beer fairy?" I said, "This is an alcoholic beverage for people over the age of 21. And that's not you. And considering how it's in a refrigerator on my property, that makes it my beer."
Right? Hell yeah.
They
Hard to
were
argue.
they were so pissed.
Of course, but hey, my
Did I just bust your little teenage fantasy?
exactly, like, sorry. I mean, my dad did tell me, even from the age of 16, like when I would go to his house to visit him, because because I didn't live with my dad, so when I got my own vehicle and my own license, I only lived um about an hour and a half from him, so I'd go see him all the time because still to this day, my dad's my hero. He knows that. He doesn't understand why, but he doesn't have to understand why. Um, and it's funny too, because like I think when I was 15, 16, my dad's like, "You'll hate me someday." I said, "No, I won't. You might want me to, but I won't." And I still don't. And it's 16 years later. I'm like, nah, I still don't. Sorry. Sorry to burst your
And
bubble.
I only like literally, I lived 1 mile from their father.
Mm.
It is almost exactly a mile. I could walk it, and
Yeah.
it is almost exactly 1 mile.
Yeah.
It was an agreement with the disillusion that I stay in the same school district,
Yeah.
and I'm like, whatevs.
Right.
So I'm like, just don't bother me. I
Right.
don't care.
Do what you got to do. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things my dad said was like, "Hey, if you want to drink, just do it at my house. That way I can keep an eye on you." I said, "Okay." I don't think I had my first beer with, and of course, I never told him about the partying I did. I don't think I had my first beer with my dad until I was 18, but I was drinking way before that.
See,
Um,
I know my son was. My second son was a little more introverted,
yeah,
and he had a much smaller circle of friends, and he preferred to just stay home and play video games and that kind of thing. Now, he though had enough balls to have liquor in his closet.
ooh,
Yeah, now the oldest one would just go partake everywhere else. The second one would have booze in his closet. So the first one, like I knew he was out. There were times I would come home and all his buddies would be in the basement and I'd be mad as hell. They were all drunk and I would go down there with a fishbowl. Everybody had to give me their keys.
yeah,
I was like, "I want your keys. I want your parents' cell phone number." I would text their parents and I would say, Came home, they were drinking. I took their car keys, and they're staying here. Unless you want them home, in which case you can either come get them or I will bring them to you. But not a damn one of them's leaving drinking. You
Yeah.
know, if they were drinking, they're not leaving here without a parent. And most of the parents are like, just keep him. You know,
Yeah.
I even would end up with some girls sometimes that were here, and I would fold out the couch and I would tell the parents, the boys are in the basement, the girls are upstairs. I'm in the middle in the kitchen, so let them try it. No
Yeah,
babies on.
exactly. Hell no.
And, yeah, and then my second son, though, like he was much more into playing video games, a little MMORPG stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, I would hear him playing video games after he got off work. He literally, my house sits in between a restaurant and a bar.
Yeah.
He worked
Nice.
at the yeah. So both the older two worked at the restaurant next door. They fried chicken, you know.
Yeah.
So he would get home, take a shower, and then just log in, and he'd be playing. And then I busted him. He had booze, and then there were some times where he came home, and I'd be walking out of his closet with a glass, and I'd be like, "Hey."
Hi.
He goes, "What the hell are you doing?" And I went, "I ran out of rum."
Right? Like, sorry, this shit's mine now.
Yeah, and he was all like, "But I paid for that," and I don't give a shit.
It's like, listen, we could do this one of two ways. Either I go in there whenever I want and I take your booze, or I take it all and I ground your ass. It's that you can pick one. Either
Right,
way, I'm getting the booze.
right, and it was so difficult with him because he was not the kind of kid that would go out partying.
Like to do it on his own, kind of like me. I don't like going out to drink. I do it right here.
And he would have like 1 to 3 tops,
Yeah,
and then he'd go. No crazy shit,
yeah.
nothing crazy. And then he would get mad at me because when he got his driver's license, I would go out with the girls and I'd make him be our chauffeur. And my husband, my second husband, was not big on going out. Sometimes he would, sometimes he wouldn't. He would depend what we were doing. And if it was something he was going to stay home, I'd be like, "Well, I'm going out with girls." He'd be like, "Cody, want to make $50?"
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
Like,
he
hold
would,
on. It's like, hold on. $50 to stay sober for a couple hours, or 0 to get drunk for a few hours. Okay, I'll get behind the wheel. I'm good. Hell
yeah,
yeah,
he,
let's do it.
like, I think I got him talked into it like 4 times. And then my one girlfriend got extremely shit faced one night and was biting people.
Oh, nice. One of those types, huh? Cute.
Um, Mixing pharmaceuticals is not a good thing. And
No.
booze on top of it. We were drinking big fish bowls, and yeah, she was biting people, going, "Arr, I'm a pirate," and then she would bite him, and he was just like, "Never again. You and your stupid ass friends can walk. Never again, mom."
Never again. Oh my god. You and your dumbass friends can walk next time.
I know. Yeah, 60 years old telling me this, and I'm going,
Well, it wasn't me.
"Oh man." Yeah, yeah. He just
I can't wait to and it's really fucked up to say, but it's one of those things. Like, I can't wait to be able to drink with my kids. It's a new chapter with the parent and kid relationship that I'm actually looking forward to. Um, let
and I
me
got that going on.
yeah, let me yeah, I know you get it again, lucky bastard. You already got it once, twice. Now, you're getting it again when you're 13 and your 10 age up.
Yeah, now The weird part was we have a big festival here. We have an Oktoberfest, right? Lots
Yeah,
of German. My oldest son is divorced, is what it is. So
everybody's divorced.
yeah, I know. And I'm not divorced. I mean, this is what happens when you start spitting out kids when you're 17 with your girlfriend. But whatevs.
Right?
Um, so he had a weekend without the kids because he has custody of his children.
Yeah,
Um, so he was like, I don't have the kids. Can I stay at your house for Oktoberfest? Because I live a block away from the park where they have it. And I said, sure,
yeah,
don't drive. Just come stay here. It's good. And on that Friday night, he comes back home, back to my house, and he goes, are you going up to the park? Well, yeah, I'm going to go up there eventually. I got to get like the little hat pins and all that shit that I collect every year. And he
yeah,
goes, let's get going. And I was kind of, well, the one is in seventh grade, and he looked at his little brother. He goes, "You got this, right? You can handle being in charge for a few hours. Don't answer the front door. Anybody that's supposed to be here will come in the back door. That
yeah.
kind of thing." And my third son said, "Yeah, sure, that's fine. Go ahead, have fun." So my oldest is 26, and we're walking around. Now, granted, those dude apps on like Snapchat and shit that give you the scruff.
Yeah.
When I do those, I look just like my oldest son. In fact, just to fuck with people, I'll take a picture of me looking like that and I send it to his ex-wife and his current girlfriend. Because everybody gets along. It's one big circle of getting along. It's kind of weird. But and I'll send it to them and I'll be like, what do you think? And they're like, oh my God!
Take it off.
Yeah, take it off. Oh my God! It's like a total mind fuck. But yeah, so I'm walking around the park. It's a little town, man. Like we graduate 65 to 95 per grade, you know. And there's these people I went to high school with that I went to school with for 13 freaking years. Hey, Lori, who's your date? He's kind of cute. That's the kid. I'm like, ew.
Like that's my son.
Yeah. I'm like, my son? Oh, I forgot you had one that old.
Yeah. Time
I didn't
flies when
birth.
you're not paying attention, huh? Like,
Right. I was like, I didn't birth the kid until I was 21. I don't understand what's so hard here. Like, it's not like I
right?
was, you know,
Yeah. I had my first when I was 19, so I'll still be fairly young. Like, yeah, I'm 34 now, so I'll be 38 when she's 18. And then what, 41 when she's 21? Like that's still young as shit.
yes, it is time
So,
to party.
right? And even my youngest is 7, so you've got to tack on what, 14 years? So I'll be 48 when she's 21. Like, it's fucking party, man.
See, and I am the last of six, and my mother was 37 when she had me.
Yeah.
My father turned 40 6 months after I was born. So, like, people always thought my parents were my grandparents, and
Yeah.
it was my goal to not have any more children after the age of 30. Like, I was like, I am not
Yep.
going to be the old lady spitting out kids, right?
Yep.
So the first two, I was good. And then, shit happens, life happens. And then I had the last two at 35 and 37.
Yep. Well, my dad said my father gave the advice was the real cutoff is 35. Reason being, when they're 15, you're 50. You're at that in between phase where it's like you're still young enough to deal with them, but you're getting to that part where you don't want to anymore. And The problem with that is I'm 34. I'm already at the point where I don't want to anymore. So when I'm 50, it's gonna be like, okay, get the fuck out of my house. Problem is, I have one of my children is what I call my forever baby. She is a stage 3 autistic, um, nonverbal.
Aw.
She'll always be with me. She's my forever baby. She is physically 12, but she's mentally like 2 or 3. Um, but
Hi.
she is so fucking smart. Um, Here's the thing. One of my neighbor friends said, all autistic children, Down syndrome, autism, they all have a genius. I
Just finding what their thing is.
discovered what her genius is. And it's not academic. Not academic. Her genius is very tactful. This child, when she was 2, 3 years old, I had her speaking full sentences. Whenever she would come with me and I would keep her for a few days to a few weeks, because me and my first wife had my 2 oldest daughters and the son. The youngest is with me and my current wife. Um, when I would take her for a few days to a few weeks just to give her, the mom a break, I would have her speaking full sentences, not pointing at things and going, but actually talking. And then she would go back to her mom and her grandmother, and they catered 100% fine. Don't care. I do not care. I don't hold anything against them for doing it. The child points, you go get it. It happens.
She them
This
trained.
this child's genius was the ability to figure out at 3 years of age that she will get way more out of life not speaking. Because she stopped. By the age of 4 years old, she quit talking completely, went completely mute. And all it was sounds and pointing and grabbing people's hands and bringing them over where she needed them to be, opening up what she needed, taking your hand and grabbing it, like kind of like saying, hey, can I have this? Or I need this. That's her genius. Her genius was the ability to figure out at 3 years of age that she did not need to speak to get what she wanted.
See, being because I'm primarily self-employed, you start to find ways to fill in the income because in my line of work, there are ups and downs.
Yeah.
So I have fill-in jobs. And one of my fill-in jobs is I work PRN at a long-term care facility, taking care as an aide to developmentally disabled adults. Now, this is the same nursing home I worked at when I was 16, and I was an STNA working down on the geriatric end. This time I just happened to be let go of a job where I sold laboratory and medical diagnostic equipment. Yay, Trump era cutbacks. Those, those, I'm so tired of people saying, we don't need grants. Yeah, yeah. I lost my job because college grant money bought equipment.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's in power. Something always affects somebody, and I'm really tired of people and rednecks.
Yeah.
But
I
but
got you.
something always affects somebody. But anyway, so I lost my job and I was stuck. And a friend of mine who is an LP or an RN, she was the house manager, and she said, "Hey, I need eggs. You already know how to do this job.
Yeah.
Do it." Okay, cool. And she's like, "You don't have to have an STNA when you work with developmentally disabled. You then go through a different training, which makes you what they call them DSAs. Sometimes they're called DSPs.
Yeah.
But, it's a different training, but the same kind of thing." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, sign me up, whatever." So I pick up on the weekends. So I work with a wide, varied group of personalities, but there are 24 residents on our wing, and it's everything from a 42-year-old severe ADHD with uncontrollable diabetes, all the way to a nonverbal autistic, and he's blind. Well, I think he might see shadows because he can kind of
Yeah.
see things at him, and he'll tell you. And, one of the newer nurses, about I thought she was going to shit her pants. He came out one day, kept coming out of his room, and it was like 2 a.m. And finally, I said, Shannon, what do you? I said, what do you want? You know, and he did one of these. I said, oh, buddy, it's not time to go to work. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I sat there like this for a minute, and he went like this. I was like, okay, we'll go get something to drink. You know, I mean, it's 2 a.m. I know, but the nurse looked at me and she said, did he just tell you that he wanted to go to work? How did he tell you he wanted to go to work? And I said, this is work and sign that he's
Yeah.
doing it like this. I was like, and she said, oh, I didn't know he needs sign. Yeah. I said, he'll tell you when he's got to go to the restroom. He'll tell you when he wants to go to work. He'll tell you when he wants food. He'll tell you when he wants to drink. And she's, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Attention to these guys.
Yeah.
I said, tell you.
I mean, the thing about my kid is she's stubborn as hell, which I think she gets from me. Um, her thing is she, in her own way, because she doesn't speak, she in her own way told the school, I'm not going to learn your sign language, you're going to learn mine. Because they tried teaching her sign language, the traditional sign language. So she knows more, and she knows please. She knows drink, and she knows food. Other than that, you have to learn hers. She's not going to learn yours. She literally, I'm not learning your shit, you're learning mine. If you don't pay attention to what I'm doing, that's not my problem, it's your problem. She,
But the ones you named off are the ones that you get immediate gratification for.
yeah, yeah.
So anything else is just like,
She don't care. She does. They tried teaching her like the entire spectrum of sign language, and she was like, "Nope, not doing it."
to go shopping.
Yeah, so she's like, "Nope, not doing it." If she wants something, she'll either. I mean, this kid should be a track star. So she's built like a football player. This kid's 12. Like I'm 5'11". This kid is 12 years old. The top of her head comes right here.
Mhm.
All right, so she's already like there. My wife, I think, is 5'4", 5'5", and she can wear my daughter's shoes perfectly comfortable.
It was about a
She's
size 8.
she's got massive feet. Like I wear size 12s. She like my daughter's feet are just I don't know. Like when she eats, I think the same joke my dad used to say about me because I would pack the food in. Where does it all go? I think it's going to her feet because eats. This kid eats like she's never eaten before a day in her life, and it all goes to her damn feet. So she's broad shouldered, she's tall, and she's heavy. She's fucking like dense. And when they have those field
My
days, when they have yeah, when they have those field days at school, not just for special needs, but the entire school where like they run track and they do flag football and all that shit. When they put her on the track, she wins, even against normal people. She's gone. Oh yeah, she every single time. My 14-year-old is also on the spectrum, just not as much. She's very high functioning, verbal, can take care of herself, that kind of thing. So I think my oldest is stage 1. So it's like barely. She's on it, but barely. She'll be a
Yeah.
functioning member.
Bit of tweaking how
Yeah,
information is presented.
yeah. She'll be a functioning member of society. She'll leave the nest at some point. Um, but even her, like they'll do this track, and my 14-year-old will come home and she'll be like, "Look, I got third place." And I'm not the well, if you're not first, you're last. I'm not that kind of person. I do
Mhm.
not agree that everyone should get a trophy. For fuck's sake, no. You have
Right.
the gold, you have the silver, you have the bronze, and the rest of you eat a dick. Try again next year.
Yeah. The rest of you try again some other time.
So, but my oldest will come home and she's like, I got third in this and I got second in this and yada yada. My 12-year-old comes home first, 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 first. Like, wow, God, like she's so fast. So, military. One of my neighbor friends that that has gotten to know the family over the years since we've been here, that has been here to babysit, that my 12-year-old absolutely adores. He's ex-military. He She ran outside one day and we had the hardest time catching her. Like we're fucking and she's just like
Oh,
bah, bah! Like we're just running, having a grand old time, the wind blowing her hair. And she knows we're trying to catch her, and it just made it way more fun for her. She's just yelling, bye, so fast. Oh, your camera turned off. Oh, there it
weird.
is. You came back.
That's fine.
You did this, and your
Yeah.
camera was like, well, fine.
Here, we're gonna do this. We're gonna turn on Do Not Disturb. So a side effect of because I belly dance. Anybody that's seen me on TikTok and I'm on YouTube and all kinds of shit. Um, I belly dance. It's one of the things that I do for income as well as fitness and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so a side effect of that is I have assorted random people from other countries, i.e., Indian dudes and Turkish dudes and Egyptian dudes trying to sell me shit.
Yeah.
27. And so a side effect of being an American female is the and the development of the internet is the dawn of the dick pic.
Did you just get one?
No,
Okay.
but no.
Oh,
I don't know. I
okay.
haven't really checked my other box lately, but
Okay. Because like
no.
you just said you're turning on Do Not Disturb. Your screen went down. I needed to know if this was a preface for for revealing
Okay.
something.
No, but so what'll happen is I actually do have about 5 or 6 people from other countries that, if I can put this back in my little stand, I have about 5 or 6 people from other countries that I'll buy stuff from. And, in pre COVID times,
Yeah.
my one girlfriend and we kind of co ran a dance troupe. And well, I still run it. She had a couple of back injuries, so she's on the DL at the moment. But she still helps with the administrative portion of it.
Yeah.
So we would sponsor large scale shows, huge fundraisers, all of that kind of stuff, like fundraisers for Ronald McDonald and local charities and that type of deal. So we will get um, fabric from India. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Sari ends, that kind of thing. And so I am one of these weird people that I know international phone codes, and I will randomly get phone calls from a +91.
Yes.
Or I'll randomly get phone calls from Egyptian costumers and that kind of stuff. And they all start rolling in around 10, 11 at night.
Mm-hmm. Are those the spam calls or are those like the legit calls?
Toss up. Don't know.
Right? You don't really know. It all depends, right?
Right. And then they get all upset because I cannot call out on an international call.
Yeah. That's probably a good thing, though, to be honest.
Oh, it's so annoying.
Yeah, I know the phone codes too, because um, I work from home at a call center. So I'll get and our QA, our quality assurance, is actually in India. So I knew that one. But like I don't make outbound calls. And that's the best part is if people aren't calling me, then it's not happening. The only outbound call that I will ever make is when I receive the phone call as the receptionist
Uh,
for whatever company I'm taking the message for. And then at the end of it, when I'm done collecting everything, I say, well, let me see if they're available. And I transfer out to the actual company that I'm taking the message for. Those are the only outbound calls I ever make, which is very strange because one of the questions that we ask, actually, like one of the main questions that we ask, is what is the best phone number to reach you in case we get disconnected?
mm,
The part about that question that is strange isn't that we're asking, it's that if we do get disconnected, I don't call them back. So why am I wording it that way? I'm not going to call you back. If I get disconnected, I'm going to be like, okay, well, here's the phone number. And then I'm going to go over to the partial message and I'm going to say, hey, they hung up or they got disconnected. I'm not really sure, but here's their name and number. Click. And I move on to the next one. I do not call them back. So, like, why am I? And I don't know. I don't know. I didn't set the question up, so that's just weird. But
so my late husband, when I first met him, he worked for a company that did metalwork, agricultural supply, that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
then he had lost that job, and of course, nobody was getting jobs because it was like 2009 and everything was in the shitter,
yeah.
2009. So he went back to school and he got a degree in information systems technology, Infosys,
Yep.
and he got a job with a company doing tech support.
Oh, that's always fun. Tech support is the best, full of sarcasm. It is the best. When I take tech support calls, it is so much fun because I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. And the best
Okay,
part
he
is,
said, what kind of router do you have? Let's go ahead and power cycle that modem. I'm
yeah,
gonna have you go and press that button in and count to 10, and we're just gonna do that.
yeah, like look, if someone were to call me because I've had to go through it. So that's the only reason that I would know. If someone were to call me and say, "Hey, my Wi-Fi isn't responding," I would actually know how to troubleshoot it just verbally because I've had to do it. Well, have you unplugged it? Did you wait at least 15 seconds before you plugged it back in? Are
Hmm.
all of the lights showing? Have you restarted your phone or your computer that you're trying to connect it to? Have you restarted your smart TV? Like I know how to troubleshoot those. The thing is, if you go beyond that, I can't ping it. I don't have that set up. So basically I work for a message service. They call it a call center, but it's really we're a third party message service. These doctors and these lawyers and these tech firms and these dealers and all this shit hire us
The
so that
message send it to the
yeah,
other guy. And the other
if
guys
they're
call the.
busy or they're on vacation or they're on the phone or whatever and they don't want to miss the call, we handle it. So there's only so much we can do. So when I get those penetrating tech questions or legal questions or medical questions, and I'm looking over at the left of my screen and there's there isn't, like, if there's an FAQ page, but the answer isn't there, or or like the overview, the little synopsis that they give us doesn't answer it. I literally, like, I don't tell them, "Hey, I work for the message service. Sorry, I can't answer you." I say, "Well, I don't have the answer on my screen, but if you let me take your information, I can get you over to someone who can answer it." And a lot of them are very receptive to that. However, a lot of them aren't dumb either. The moment I say I don't have it on my screen, they're going, "Oh, you're just an answering service." And at that point, I'm allowed to say yes, but I have to get to that point.
Right.
They say it first, and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm just an answering service, but I'm gonna do what I can to help you." And, I'll have people hate, man, the moment I'm like, "Hi, how can I help you?" They're just like, "Ba ba 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 ba," and I'm just, "Alright,
I think it.
I'm typing it out so I can reiterate it and show you that I was listening." And they're asking all these damn questions, and I'm literally writing the questions down like I'm repeating it as I'm typing. And they get done with their little monologue, and I haven't answered any of their questions. I literally just, like, I repeat some of it, and I'm like, "Oh, may I ask who's calling? Can I get your phone number? Can I get your email?" And by the time I get to the email, they're going, "I Are you gonna answer me or what?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I kinda can't." Like, I don't know what the hell you're asking. I'm just writing it down.
After 3 years of listening, because I would have to be in there too, getting paperwork, whatever, walking in and out of the room, I would
Mm,
be able to power cycle a modem.
yeah,
The software that they used, I would know which company. He worked for a company that did tech support for their own internet service as well as subcontracting out for like hotel chains,
yeah,
other internet providers, like
yep.
through the plain states.
Just similar shit.
So,
Yeah,
right, I would know where the call was coming from, and I would be able to say, "Well, sir, click over to the Weather Channel," because he had a map going the whole time. Be like, "Looks like there are some storms out in Kansas today, and that may be some of the reason. But let's take a look."
yeah,
He would get so mad because he would say something. At the time, I was working all kinds of quality control temp jobs because nobody was hiring. So I would temp at all these factories, food factories, anywhere that had quality control labs. I was a
yeah.
lab rat. So I'm like, here I am busting my ass on a 12-hour shift, and you're sitting on your butt in your boxer shorts taking these calls. And he's like, "Oh, my job's hard." I'm like, "Oh, let me get this started. Okay, sir, let's go ahead and take a look. What kind of modem do you have? All right, let's go ahead and unplug that and count to 10. We're gonna plug that it back in. Why don't you tell me which lights are back on?" "Oh, okay, that
That's
didn't work. Let me go ahead and
I'm sorry. That's the thing is,
109, blah 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 blah."
yeah, that's the problem with me is I do bitch, and I shouldn't, and I know I shouldn't, but I've worked both sides. See, before, when I had my outside job, when I was doing traffic control outside on the busy streets of Florida out in the heat all day, I would come home and my wife at the time wasn't working, and then I would complain when I came home, like, "This isn't done, this isn't done, this isn't done." And while I was bitching, I would just go and do it anyway. That's probably part of the reason she didn't do it, now that I think about it, is because I would come home and I would whine, but while I was whining, I would just get it done anyway.
She's
Um,
like,
so
"Should I
I
bother
Yeah,
going home?
exactly. She
Save
knew.
money?"
She knew. She's like, "He's gonna bitch." Like, and one of the times she actually even told our friends, who then told me. The one of our friends, he was like, "Dude, she says that you're gonna bitch when you come home, but that you're just gonna do it anyway." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, but I'm not gonna stop, because if I stop now, wait it
It'll
out
never.
until I." She's just gonna wait it out until I fucking cave and give up. Just like my kid. Same thing. That's where my fucking child gets it from. Is this beautiful bride I'm married to. Um, but like now it's outside the house and I work at home. But even though I work at home, I now see what she went through at home. Because on my breaks, I've got the animals to deal with. I've got the kids' homework to deal with. I've got the laundry to deal with. I've got all that shit to deal with. So I've been on both sides now. I've been the outside worker.
And
I've been the outside worker who brings the bread in. I've been the inside worker who brings the bread in. I've been the non-worker who's like 100% dedicated to the house. I've worked all three spectrums. So, but I still have the audacity and the fucking balls to sit here and be like, my job is hard. And all I'm doing is taking calls all day. Like, quite literally, in between phone
it's a
calls.
different kind of hard.
In between phone calls, the phone call ends. And if it was a difficult call, the phone call ends. And then I lean back in this chair and I'm like, well, fuck you too, man. Like, first, why? I'm sitting in a chair in my house. If I need a break, I take a break and I walk that way. And I'm not at work anymore.
Yeah, but everybody does need a break away. Everybody's got to be a little.
Yeah, I mean, like, but the other part is like I do my full week in 3 days. Like
Wow.
like I have 4 days off. Like usually 3 to 4 days off a week, sometimes 3.5. But I do my entire week that I need to do in 3 days, 3 to 3.5 days. So where do I get off whining about my fucking job?
You know,
Exactly.
on the flip side of that, now I am self-employed.
Yeah.
So I do natural health consulting. So I see
Yeah,
clients.
but that's even worse though, because like if you're not self-motivating and actually getting out there and doing it, you're fucked.
There are a whole lot of fucking days that I would like to just stay in bed, especially since my husband passed away last summer.
Ouch.
And so
Sorry, was that what happened?
um it was very unexpected. He became very ill and had walking pneumonia, and he had a lot of stuff happen, and I became hysterical and talked him into going to the hospital. At which time he told the nurses that I threw him down the stairs and picked him up and threw him in the car. He was 6'4" and weighed 450 pounds, and I'm 5'3".
Ah, okay.
And he said, she was mean to me. She threw me down the stairs and threw me in the car. And I looked at him and went, uh-huh.
Okay.
But he had a extreme pneumonia, and it was becoming septic, and we didn't know it.
Oh
And
damn.
it was kidneys. And then he was seeming to get better for a couple days, and then he just threw a blood clot.
God
So
damn. Ouch.
yeah, so very unexpected. But so here I am, right? Like, well, and anybody that was on TikTok got to see me self-medicate for 2 months because I just did a whole lot of lives drunk out of my cord.
Right?
But so I'm pretty much like I've scaled back on a lot of things so that I can be home more. Because he and I had this little switch off going on, like he was on days, I was on nights, and we had a whole tag team thing going on.
Yeah.
But some people, they both work days and they have a babysitter and stuff like that. We never were quite that lucky to get that kind of situation. So we literally had a game on, game off, your turn type of
Yeah.
thing going. Um, so I've had to scale some stuff back, but I've called in a lot of favors, and so now I see clients at one of three different locations. I would probably see them from my home, except my home is utter chaos because they're 13 and
Right?
10.
Yeah.
At any moment in time, there could be a football sailing through the middle of my living room. Um, it could happen. It could happen, and the pile of laundry is fucking endless.
Yeah.
Um, but so there are days where, and then I have the fill-in gigs where there are days where I have stuff scheduled, and I just lay there for half an hour going, do I really have to get up and do this shit today?
Yeah.
And like, oh yeah, and all that's what I get for coming
Everything's falling apart. It's all falling apart.
yeah, story of my life is all falling apart. No. But there are days where I lay there in bed in the mornings and I'm like, I really don't want to get out of bed today. But if you in the position where I'm at, if I start canceling,
It's over.
I suddenly become irresponsible, unreliable, and then I don't get the work anymore.
Yeah.
So all these people that I know will say, "Oh my gosh, you're so driven," and I'm like, "No,
No, not really.
not really. I'm really not driven. The thing is I'll never get any clients back if I don't show up."
Yeah, I mean, that's the same conversation that I have with my team lead because like I was for this at home job in particular, I wanted to be a boss because I was at a boss position with the traffic control job. The only reason that I left that one, to be honest, was because I got an inside look at how they run shit, and I was like, I'm not doing this. I can't represent this. But stepping down wasn't an option either. Not for me. So when I got this at home job and I really enjoy doing it, I still enjoy doing it. I might bitch about it, but I still enjoy doing it. I love doing it. I tried doing the lead job, but the way they do it is so weird because you're at home, so you can't see your people face to face. It's all on video. So you have to schedule weekly meetings with your team. That way you can give them the updates on how they're doing and talk to them and like I'm not a people person at all. So having forcing me to do these meetings where I'm like, "Hey, you really need to work on this part and you did good over here." And in the back of my head I'm going, "They don't give a shit and neither do I. So why am I doing this?" Like, really, all I wanted to do on the meetings is like, "Hey, how was your week? Good? Okay, cool. I'll see you next week." That's all I wanted to do. And
Right.
that's all they wanted me to do. But that wasn't my job. So I stepped down from that one. It wasn't because of the way the company worked. It's just the position was like, "Nah, man. Like you're not my friend. I just like I'm going to ask you how you are to make sure that you still want to come to work. And if there's a problem, I'm going to do what I can to fix it. And then after that, if you want to be subpar with your work, that's not my fucking problem. But it was my problem.
In
So,
person, but in the seat jobs in
yeah,
factories, they would call me in for my evaluations, and they would say, "Oh, you're doing this good. You're doing this good. This is adequate. We could probably improve here. Blah 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 blah." And it would always finish with, "Your coworkers say you're intimidating."
yeah, yep, right here. Same, same thing, same thing all the
Like, how
fucking time.
am I intimidating? And they're like, "Well, because you don't have a problem with asking them what's wrong." The fuck what?
Right? Like, what? Like, that's what's
Like,
intimidating?
what was I
I could do
supposed
a
to?
whole lot worse.
Hey, how you doing? Let's just do a little fist bump and hug action. Oh, and by the way, what did I jack up? No, I lead with why. What was wrong with that? you know?
Yeah.
Or if I saw somebody doing something wrong, I'd be like, hey, dude, you really should do this.
It's because you're direct. Like I know that
Fuck,
from
it's intimidating. Put your butt hurt away.
well, no, because you're direct. I'm direct too. My wife is direct too. Her and I are both seen as intimidating because we don't waste words. We don't waste time with words. If you're doing something good, we're going to tell you that you're doing good, but literally all we're going to say is, "Hey, you're doing great." We're not going to waste time explaining why. We're say, "Hey, you're doing great," and we're going to walk the fuck away and let you keep doing your job. And if you're doing something bad, we're going to say, "Hey, this is where you're fucking up. Can we stop doing this? Maybe do it this way instead, the way you were trained." And then we're
Yeah,
going to walk away and let you do your job. But people see that as intimidating because you're not holding their hand. You're not asking them if it's okay if you tell them something. You're literally just coming out and being like, all right, this is what you need to do.
in the one job, the woman who said I was intimidating was damn near 60. And I was like 41.
Yeah.
And she literally told me in all my other jobs, they call me Queenie. And I looked at her and I said, that's not a compliment, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I
And,
hate to
and,
break it to you, but that's not a compliment. Like
and then she,
they were bad mouthing you to your face and you didn't pick up on it.
right. I was like, that's not a compliment, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then she says, well, I'm usually described as the alpha female. And I literally stopped in the middle of my job one day. I worked at a factory where they made rubber for like tires and tank tread and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I said, what the fuck are we? A pack of dogs? And she's like, well, and I said, I really don't have time for stupid shit. Can you just get your stuff done? I was like, can you just get your stuff done? Because, like, you're scheduled to go home in a little bit, and I don't want to
Right?
do it.
Listen, if with your personality and facade, if you're the alpha, we're all screwed.
I'm sitting there thinking, what the fuck does this have to do with anything? Do you have your shit done, bitch?
Right? Like, do your job. But yeah, like that's the weirdest part. Going back to your original point of like people call you driven and all of that. When I have my meetings with my team lead, because I stepped down out of the team role, so I went just back to being a normal, foot soldier and just
Hmm.
taking phone calls all day. Whenever I have my weekly meeting with my team lead, she's like, "Oh, your scores are good, and your attendance is great, and you seem really driven to do this job and do it well." And every single time I want to look at her and be like, "No, no, I'm not at all. I show up because I get to pick my own time. I get to pick my schedule, the days that I work and the hours I work. So kind of like self-employed without being self-employed. Like all of the benefits of being self-employed, but having a boss that'll handle the bullshit.
Right.
Um, so I don't have to. But like every single week, I want to look at my, because she's so sweet. So I really don't want to bust on her like that. But like every week, I want to look at her and say, no, no, I'm lazy as shit. I bitch about my job most of the time, and I really don't want to be here. But
Yeah.
I enjoy the benefits of being able to choose my own days, choose my own hours, and the work really isn't that hard. So that's why I'm here. Like, it has nothing to do with me wanting to do it.
I think like if I had my choice and money weren't an option, I would just sleep for a living.
Actually, I think you and I have been talking for an hour and a half, and that's the first statement that you've made where I think you would be best friends with my. Seriously. Hey, babe, for a living and be paid for it, would you do it? Why? Okay.
She said I didn't hear it.
She's. I asked her if she would do it. She said probably not. I asked her why. She said because, and that was it.
If somebody was going to pay me to sleep, I would do it, and they just have to deal with the drool and the snorting and the snoring.
You just got to be a mattress tester. That's a legitimate job, believe it or not.
Is do you
Yeah,
get to
it is.
sleep on them? You have to do other things on them.
No. You literally like they to be a mattress tester. If you're lucky enough to land such a job, they send you the mattress and you test it, and you test it by sleeping on it, and then you fill out a checklist that says like, did you have bad dreams? Yes or no. Does your back hurt? Does your neck hurt? How long did you sleep? Did you have interruptions? Did you have to get up? Did you have to move? Did you have to roll over? And literally, like that's your job. You test mattresses, and then they take what you said along with all of the other testers, and then they build a commercial out of it. Like how did like the commercials are based on just like let's make this seem like the best mattress ever. It is based on that. Plus the sponsorship of whatever celebrity is dumb enough to do the commercial. But they also base it off of the tester's information. Clinically
That's
proven to
I need
whatever
to
the
be
hell.
a mattress tester, and then I need to be a whiskey taster.
There you go. Well, no, not even just a whiskey. You need to be like an alcohol line tester. So it's all different types, and a mattress tester. That's your
That
those are your
almost beats being an herbalist.
that's your calling right there. Those two. See, an herbalist is what my wife would be because weed falls right in there. That's what she would be. I tried getting her a job once being because all over Florida the dispensaries are popping up and you don't need experience to
You
go
know,
work there.
I cannot get a job at an Ohio dispensary. I have tried, and they have told me that I have too wide of a scope of herbal knowledge.
Yeah. Um there is such thing as being overqualified. I know that sucks, but it is actually true because they're worried that you'll go in there with all of this vast uh fluent knowledge and you won't learn the way they want you to learn. You'll go in and you'll tell them what to do and how to do it. An entry level is not supposed to know more than the people training you. And unfortunately, it happens a lot. Yeah, exactly. There is such thing as being overqualified and it blows, but it's a real thing. It is a very
Blows.
real thing.
It
Yeah, it does.
blows.
Like my she never went to college.
Mhm.
But she's been smoking the fucking devil's lettuce since she was 13. She's got 20 years of experience already. There isn't a
Been
single
eating
question.
devil's lettuce since I was 12.
Yeah, there isn't a single question that she couldn't answer.
Mhm.
Like what's best for this, what's best for that, when's the best time to smoke this, when's the best time to smoke that, what's the best to put into an edible, what are the effects that this could and should do. She could answer all of those. But like she didn't get any when I applied for her, she didn't get pushback because of that. She got pushback because the job experience I was able to give for her was fast food. I could not put on her resume or public resume. I have been smoking weed since I was 13. I could not do that. I could not have her birthday indicate that she's going to be 33 and she has 20 years of smoking experience. I couldn't do it. I
See,
could not do that.
but I put on my resume that I have 30 years of clinical herbalist instruction
Yeah.
because I basically, at the time that I got into it, after I totaled my car when I was 16.
Yeah.
It's you know, I had a lot of bad teenage habits, and it kind of kicked my ass off the cliff. And so I was kind of like propelled into adrenal burnout kind of thing. Um, so I've always had to like walk that fine line. And sometimes people will see a TikTok and have a big ass mother truck and cold sore going on. It's because I've pulled 3 days with not enough sleep and stress, and bam, there it is. I wear it on my face. But so that's one of the, with all the extra shit that I had to go to, my family doctor told my mother to take me to a health food store.
Yeah.
So she did, because God knows why the hell this kid isn't going to school, blah, blah, blah. And it worked. Long story short, I started studying with the herbalist, that kind of thing. So I basically say that I had been doing an herbal internship at the age of 17.
Yeah.
Because pretty much I was. And, you know, so that technically qualifies as clinical herbalism. Still.
Yeah.
I still remember a manager of GNC telling me he could not hire me, not because I didn't know what was going on, but because I did know what was
Yes.
going on.
You were overqualified. They were worried that you were going to walk in there and tell them how it's done.
Probably.
Dude, I don't know. I don't look. If I were a manager at a place, see, that's the thing is I went through ROTC and I went through the military. They have a very simple concept. You are constantly working your way out of a job. And the reason you're working your way out of a job is so you can move up out of that job. So if I was a manager at a place and I got a resume from someone and it's going, okay, I don't know this and I don't know this, but they do, let's bring them in. If they know more than I do, guess what? They can take my job and then I can do this. Move the fuck up. That way. Oh, they know more than me. They're going to make me feel inadequate. No, they're going to give you the opportunity for a promotion, you jackass, because you can't get promoted if no one takes your current job.
Right. And that's what I always thought, that it would be no big hairy deal. And like
But
at
that's not how
GNC,
people think. That's not how people think. They think inadequacy, they think threatened by, they think all this shit. They don't think about the benefits of having someone take their place.
right, that they can move up to a district manager or a regional manager or some sort of vice president of something.
They don't think about that.
Butt tons.
Yeah. They don't think about that. They think about like, oh, this person knows more than me, so I'm gonna get fired and they're gonna take my job. Maybe. But a way bigger chance is you're gonna move into a higher spot. It's
Right.
it's a way less percentage chance that you are gonna get fired and sent home and this person's gonna take your place. It's a way higher chance that you'll be moved into a more important position because you found this person. You'll be praised that you
Right.
found this person. Yeah.
You would think. Now, I actually interviewed for a quality control job at a factory that made a food product. I got to be pretty vague so I don't get my ass in trouble. But literally, I was 5 years ago, so I was 43, and I'm talking to them, and they're like, "Have you used this equipment, that equipment?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." I said, "You know, if you want, let's take a walk through the lab and I'll tell you what I have and have not used." You know?
Yeah.
Went through and I was like, I've used that, I've used that, I've used that, I've used that, calibrated for this. Do you do it different? And then we got back and they were like, well, we'd really like to give you this job, but you know how to use more stuff than I do. And I just don't see it happening. I was like, the fuck what?
Yep. Yep. The like the biggest obstacle with interviews, quite literally, like when the people tell you to be prepared, that is very true. When the people tell you to dress for the part, that's very true. When they tell you to get plenty of rest so that you aren't like falling asleep, you can look interested, you can sound interested, that's very true. What they don't tell you is play stupid. And
And
unfortunately,
very well.
you've got to play stupid or you're not going to get the job. See, if you had played dumb on that, if you hadn't taken that walkthrough and just been like, "Oh, I know about it in a general way. Could you explain it to me?" And then you get the job. And then you go through and you start fucking busting everyone's balls and blowing the door off the place. That's different. They're not going to get rid of you once they have you. It's the interview. You've got to play dumb. It sucks so much, man. Because like
It does.
everybody has it. Overqualified lawyers go to a law firm and they're like, "Hey, that case that you just ran that your lawyer lost, I could have won that if he did this, this, and this." And they won't hire that lawyer. They won't hire that person because it's going to make the firm look bad. Like, what? No, they're gonna make the firm look better. What are you doing?
I know, right? But now I'm on a different path, and that's okay because I really I have this fundamental issue with playing stupid. So I just can't do it. Like if I come off as stupid, I expect people to tell me that I come off
Yeah.
as dumb. Because then I need to fix it.
Yeah.
But I don't intend to be like threatening, and if I'm on the right track, I want to keep going on the right track. So now that I'm self-employed, the cool part is I see clients, I tell them, I go through like the Ayurvedic and traditional Chinese medicine assessment deals and tell them this is what kind of herbs and stuff I would do if I were you.
Yeah.
I'm a registered yoga teacher, so I tell them you may want to think about incorporating this. I do reflexology, and I tell them, hey, I would really think about dealing with this. And I don't have that anymore,
Yeah.
because people are actually like, hey, some stuff.
Yeah, they come to you.
Yeah, and I'm like, the Jeopardy brain is finally paying off.
Right? Yeah. It takes a little bit. You've got to swim through the river of shit to get to the clean water, and it sucks. It takes a while, but you're the type of person that was not born to follow. You weren't born to lead either. You were born to go your own way. And it's a very difficult mindset in this sensitive world.
Butt hurt.
It is, man. It sucks. Sucks so much.
Like I have people, they're like, "Oh, you don't support me being, I don't know, whatever the hell in that blank." And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Tell me what you want. I really just, and it's not even that I don't care. It's more of like ambivalence.
Yeah.
You want to, if that's what makes you happy, okay.
Yeah. Right?
Ambivalent acceptance.
Yes.
Yes.
Darling. Well, first of all, I can hear you snoring in there. That's one. You need to take your medicine. Check your level last night. Can you do it? Do it. It's not going to feel good. My wife's diabetic.
Oh.
But she also works herself to death, so she falls asleep a lot and forgets to poke the finger and check the level and take the insulin. And one of
for the permanently, it's not permanently, but the monitor with the phone app thing.
She's tried, but she had the arm one and kept bumping it into shit. because my wife is also very wide-shouldered, but she's a klutz too. So she'd forget it was there. She'd hit it off of something,
Right.
pull the shirt off too fast, what have you. So there's another one. What am I choking on? There's another one that she wants to try, but right now it's just the poke in the finger. Babe,
Mhm.
check your level. Swear to God, I'll come in and do it myself. You're not gonna like it.
I'll tell you what, I will let you go because I have babbled long enough and I have someone here that I need to go talk to. So you have a wonderful evening and thank you for letting me babble on your podcast.
It's been nearly 2 hours. This is pretty much the ceiling. Yeah, we've been on
Really?
here for an hour and 46 minutes now. So
I talk pretty much endlessly, so we should probably go now because this will never end.
I'm good with continuing going, but it's okay.
No, I have to get some sleep at some point because kids got to
What?
go to school.
Who sleeps anyway? Come on.
Hey, Saj Guru, I was listening to him on my way home, and the man says that he only sleeps 4 hours a day. I don't know if you know who Saj Guru is.
No, I only sleep 4 hours a day. I don't know who it is, but I understand the concept.
It's SADH Guru, Guru, and this dude in India, he's got the turban and the freaking beard and shit.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how if your body is in line, you only need 4 hours a day. And I'm like, wow, I'm just off the fucking cliff. But
I have not been on the line in years. I just don't
yeah,
ever sleep more than that.
yeah. 4 freaking hours, dude. Really? Like, I need like at least 6.5. But yeah, that's his thing. If you are all in a line and it's 4
The line is
hours.
doing this, then I'm good,
Well,
right?
if if you go on energy centers, it kind of goes back and forth like this.
I think mine does more like the heart monitor thing. Doo, 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 doo. Yeah, that's
Yes.
more what my energy kind of does. Right around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, it's flatlining, and then it's he drank coffee. Boop boop.
Yes, a little AD with a.
Oh yeah, get the heart chakras in here, man.
Yes. All right. You have a wonderful evening.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.